Alright, we have an update to Dueling Book data here, and let me tell you, these percentage turnovers for this event, this format is looking a lot better than it should be. Alright, to the 30% of you that have not smashed the F11 crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So I love data analyzation. I love the chance to look at these sorts of things because it gives an insight as to what is happening within the format here. Now, let's get into the raw numbers here. So Cash Tier is coming in with a play count of 3,200 games and is having a 64% conversion rate right now, which is actually putting this at the best deck in the format. I'm not really surprised about that, to be perfectly honest with you, but with the most playtime, it definitely makes sense. We were definitely expecting Cash Tier to get the most amount of playtime out here. Now, Branded's coming in with the second amount of playtime, only with a 55% conversion rate, though, with 1,700 wins to 1,400. Sword Soul Tenyi coming in with a 50-50 here for 1,800 games. It's kind of interesting. Now, things are getting interesting down here with Sprite. Sprite had 1,500 games, but they had 720 on the Runic variant. Now, regular Sprite is unfortunately at a 48% win rate, but your Runic Sprite variant here is at a 55% win rate. So if that's telling you something, that's definitely kind of something to take note of here. Now, Runic also had 838 games as the pure variant with a 49% conversion turnover, which is actually not that bad either. But the next challenger down here in terms of conversion rate is actually MathMech at a 766 game representation. But the thing that's most interesting about this is this deck is now getting the chance to kind of come back into the spotlight. We talked about this the last time we looked at this data here, was the fact because, you know, there's no buy steals floating around in the format. Nobody is really citing these things. Now that Kashtira has taken over, you know, the buy steals have taken either a drop out of the format or there's just no reason to play them right now. And yeah, you're looking at a 64% turnover. Like I said, that's pretty impressive. I'm glad to see that Circular and friends kind of storming back on into the format here. Now, Tier down here, this is just sad and pathetic. 711 games with a 42% turnover. Konami wanted this deck out of the format, and they got it checked out. Like, this is rough. Now, Sky Striker down here, trying to be cute too. 620 games with a 45% turnover. That's not good. Now we have another challenger down here in terms of turnover, and it's Flonderies. So this is actually very interesting. Flonder right now, in the current state of the format, a lot of people are not looking at this deck, or they're not really considering this deck as an option. The loss of the barrier statue has got a lot of people to check out of this. Well, here's the unfortunate truth to this deck. It is still very good. This deck is a monster at what it does. All right, this deck does not care about barrier statue. This deck does not care about. You're just going to deploy M-Pen and go, and your opponent's not going to be able to handle that. All right, that's what's going to make this a very scary threat. And until people realize that Flonder is still doing the things that it did in the previous iterations of its life, it's going to be rough for a lot of people to kind of grasp that and understand. So if you see an M-Pen show up and you just suddenly lose to it, that's on you. Like, that's just how the format goes at this point. Shaddoll Tier Elements. Now, this variant had a 57% turnover. This is doing better than Pure, that's for sure. Pure just doesn't get enough going for it right now in the format, and that's kind of the problem. You definitely need that. Punk had a 43% turnover. Ugh. Regular Sword Soul also had only a 44%, so it looks like your Sword Soul Tenyi variant is going to be your better variant. Rocket Guard Dragon had a 58% turnover. Well, that's pretty good. Danger Dark World, surprisingly here, had a 55% conversion rate out of the 467 games that it played. Now, technically, you just got to get the Arise Heart off the field or have a way to get rid of the Arise Heart to be the way for this deck to be able to play the game. And that's going to be kind of hard. I get that. But that is actually something very interesting here. Dinosaurs also had a really bad conversion rate. 44% win rate. Ew. Regular Brave also had a 52% win rate. Not sure what that is. I see that we also had Hero at a 54% win rate at only 300 games. Ew. Frog Sprite also had a turnover at 54%. Tribrigade at 48%. Now we have another challenger down here. only 314 games with a 62% conversion win rate. Now, to be perfectly honest with you here, Drytron has actually got a pretty decent matchup across the board this format. I actually just got handed a Drytron list right now that actually just kind of plowed through a couple of locals. So there are people out here that are having success with this because they just don't know. People have forgotten how to play Drytron or play against Drytron. It's such an amazing thing at the end of the day. And we also see that we have a Sword Soul Tenyi Yang Zing list. 62% turnover rate here. 255 games. Okay. So we shift on over here to the next page. Naturia Runic. Now, this is something that I've heard a lot of people are wanting to play this format. We have a 57% conversion on that. That's not bad. We have a 48% conversion win rate on Dark World. Okay, so no danger package, I guess. Marincess at a 58%. That honestly kind of makes sense. I know this is like the Rogue of Rogues. Salamangreat at 51%. Glad that representation pushed down. Regular Drytron at 46%. Ew. Exosister at 40. I know a lot of people like, oh my god, just play Exosisters for me. No, deck is not that bad. All right, we're gonna go ahead and shift over here. We're gonna shift to conversion win rate here. Kashtira Sky Striker has played 4 games and has won 100% of them. Branded Sprite Tri-Brigade has won 4, and we've had Gladiator Beast. What is Gladiator Beast Tri-Brigade? What? Branded Dogmatica Invoked has played 20 games and has an 80% win rate. That's hilarious. One Dynamorphy, a dinosaur player, has played 5 games with 80%. Endymion Mystical Beast Spellbook, 75. Branded Dynamorphy at 75. Invoked Virtual... What's Invoked Virtual World? 75%. Dogmatica Necros at 75. 75 for Infernoid. Brave Herald at 73. What? Magnet Warrior has a 72% conversion win rate. Oh man, like I said, just looking back here at some of these funnier decks, Ignister Mathmech, hey, that's 70% actually, only on 141 games. Cyber Angel Benten at 68, Branded Invoked 67, Runic Spellbook Sky Striker at 67%. There's your Mathmech and Kashtira. Kashtira Punk also had a 64% conversion win rate. Brave Tear at 64, Mech Knight Orchest had a 64, Numeron Zexal Red Eyes. What the heck is that? Oh, what's a Numeron Zexal deck? Okay. There's Flandres with 63%. Brave Frog Sprite, 63%. That's pretty good for a conversion turnover for that. Furhire Runic also has a 61% conversion rate out of a small sample size of 173. Ignister also has 61%. When you're looking at like the percentiles of wins to whatnot, it's not always going to be a crazy spread of things, but it is very interesting to see, the gaps here in between how things are going at the moment versus how they should actually be. So that's pretty interesting. Now your match cards here for the current format, 11,000 drops on the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. It's always the best card in every single format, never changes. Imperm at 10,000, Finrare at 6,600, Pot of Prosperity at 58, Space Rock at 54, 5,300, evenly matched, 4,800 interactions right now. You are kind of in a format right now where evenly matters a lot more. 4,500 on the Unicorn, Book of Eclipse at 4,000, Rise Heart at 3,900, Theosis at 38. Yeah, man, these are a lot of interactions. Fallen of Albaz at 3,400, Lava Golem at 34, Branded Fusion at 3,300, Shangri-La at 32, Lubellion at 32, Luber at 3,000, Tactics or Thrust at 3, Birth 3. Yeah, you just kind of start to see where you're looking here in your format. Everything is where we're expecting it, right? Man, Baron's had 2,500 interactions as well this format. Base Polymerization has also had, 2,500 interactions. And there's Dimension Shifter still with 2,400 interactions. We're going to cut the Shifter, people said. No reason to play Shifter, but Shifter's showing up 2,400 games here, or been used 2,400 times. Something to think about there. So overall, what are my thoughts based on the data as we're looking at everything here? You've got pretty interesting spreads here across the metagame. You have a lot of decks that are expected, and I think this format is a lot more diverse than it actually looks. Once you get on the big layer here and you see Kashtira, you're going to be very scared. But what's going on below the surface of Kashtira is there's a lot of cool decks that are moving around. There's a lot of Rogue that you can actually play, and there's a lot of former meta like Sprite that's still sticking around, actually getting the chance to do something. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.